Hi Sag, welcome to your reading for the month of February. Welcome to Mama Star X channel. Alright Sag, so there's been a lot going on in astrology, and for that reason I decided to do readings for every sign. Of course I may begin doing that just because I feel like a lot of the life lessons that we're going through right now in our lives, they're basically related to the shifting consciousness that our collective is going through. And I see a lot of people sometimes being stuck in their own situations, trying to change or break away from their patterns. But if we don't understand what is going on from an energy perspective, we're not really going to be able to overcome those challenges. Of course, this is a general reading, so it's not going to be for everybody, but I like to use the principles of the law of attraction to do these readings instead of using the signs. I use different oracles in which I focus in the energy of the collective of each sign and begin with one oracle, see which house or which planet or which element is talking, and then from there, I choose the messages in relationship to the tarot cards that are representing your frequency. So in your reading, it's very interesting because the house that came out affecting this reading is the 5th house, which is the house of Leo. And that's the house that talks about our passions, our enjoyment, children, if we have children. And it comes with the 43 code. So it didn't show in this particular deck with the 5th, with the number 5, which is the correct number. I have another oracle that I use sometimes that it does have the number 5, but I decided to use this oracle, which I don't remember exactly who made it. Sometimes I just use these oracles based on how I feel. But in this particular one, the 5th house, the house of Leo, is being represented by 43, which is a combined number, and each number means something in numerology. In this particular case, 4 represents perseverance and 3 represents creativity. So you are in the house of passion. So this is a time that for you is going to feel really intense because it's all about your heart center. So the 5th house represents our heart. It represents our chest. There is health astrology too. I mean, there are things for me there are things that are new just because I've been developing these abilities by just pure inspiration. But in recent times, I've been getting my feet wet in a little bit of the Vedic astrology. Vedic astrology is fascinating. Not that the other ones are not, but it's very specific, and there's a lot that you can learn from that perspective. But I noticed that there is a slight difference between one astrology and the next. And by noticing that is that I'm really glad that I do these readings based on synchronicity instead of ascending sign. Because I learned that my ascending sign in the regular astrology is different than my ascending sign in Veda astrology. But seeing here this house, right, the 5th house that represents your passion, I feel like this is a time where your passions and your creativity is going to be enhanced. If you have children, you may feel like you're going to want to have more fun with your children. If you are single, you're going to feel like, I want to explore my life and I want to be able to have this ingredient of fun. And it doesn't mean that you're not willing to take responsibility for whatever it is that you have to, but it has to feel right, which is the perfect focus or the perfect choice that we need to make in this time of change and transformation. So you may feel like maybe this is new to you, or maybe people around you may not get it, but a lot of us that are going through this awakening, and we're now aware of this path of transformation and ascension that a lot of people talk about. I think I have to make a video about that frequency of ascension, that we're ascending, or we're changing our perspectives and our point of views. We recognize that it's important for us to be ourselves and to make a choice or to do something. We don't have to explain it to other people so that other people can agree. We just do it. And I feel there is a quality of that in our passions. When we're doing what we're doing for the sake of feeling good and feeling at harmony and at peace with ourselves, that's all that matters. Because if it's good for you, it's going to be for everybody else. As long as you're coming from that perspective that this gives me peace. So I'm not doing so that I can step in somebody else's toes. So I feel like there is a quality of that. And, from that perspective, it also illuminates maybe some of the past experiences that you've had in which you felt stuck, or you felt like you were not going anywhere, or you felt like you were not being recognized for your qualities. There could be a little bit of disappointment or frustrations around relationships. So whatever lessons you went through in recent times might have led you to this place of saying, you know what, if I'm going to do it my way. I'm not going to focus so much on the expectations, but I'm going to try to enjoy myself more. And that's kind of the best attitude to have, just because those are the frequencies that the universe loves, and is when the universe responds to your wishes. So in the heart of your reading, you have the Chariot, which is 7. It comes with the number 7, and it relates to the 43 here. So you can see the Chariot here is a major arcana in the heart of your reading, Sagittarius. To me, this is the card that represents victory, but it also represents movement. So I feel like there are things that are happening to you right now, especially in your romantic life, because the 5th house, it also represents romanticism, where you are basically feeling the passion, or you may be letting loose your passions. In your mind, you have the Hangman. And it's interesting, this combination of the Chariot with the Hangman, because the Hangman talks about putting the brakes, and the Chariot is about going for it. But the Chariot has a quality of knowing what I'm doing. I may not always know what's coming ahead, but being certain about what I'm feeling right now. This feels right, okay? But having the brakes with the Hangman, it can mean, of course, different things. And, it could mean that you're not rushing by maybe speaking too soon. You may be in a situation where maybe your person and you have to take breaks to see each other. Putting yourself in suspension, and there is a quality in this particular case about waiting out to see what happens. Okay? In your wishes or your desires, you have a 2 of Cups. So you've met somebody, or you're getting to know somebody here that you feel there's a lot of affinities. There's a lot of similarities, a lot of qualities that you like about this person. This could be a twin soul connection. We have gotten into this habit of thinking that only we get one twin soul in our lifetime, but it's not true. As you expand, begin to go through this expansion in your consciousness, you start realizing that we have told ourselves a lot of stories that are not necessarily true. I've learned that it's all about frequencies. You know, having the capabilities of transmute a particular frequency, it puts us in alignment with another person. And if we can both hold those frequencies without interfering by manipulating somebody else, right? Or pushing somebody else to be in the way we want, we can, attract each other, magnify each other. So it is through magnetism that we attract people, not through manipulation. So we got to remind ourselves of that, because as we're moving away from that type of mentality of forcing change, working really hard to create change, we start realizing that it wastes a lot of energy. We use a lot of energy trying to force change, and ultimately it creates conflict, friction, because it's not natural. So as you begin to expand your awareness and your consciousness and become more fully aware of who you are as an extension of source energy, spirit, having a physical experience, you start becoming more aware of your capabilities and your power. You start realizing that forcing change is not the healthiest way to deal with your life. And although we live in a reality that is all based on change, there is a natural flow to energy, just like a river. Big difference trying to swim against the current than when you're just moving with the current. So I feel like there is a quality about your change, or the changes that you're making, that it's allowing you to enjoy your life more. And because the nature of those frequencies are so more expansive, has allowed you to magnify and attract somebody that now you consider as worthy of making an effort, giving it a try. And maybe it's not an effort, but taking a shot. Your person in their desires, they have the Wheel of Fortune, which I love. I mean, you're dealing here with somebody who definitely I consider a match. Out of all the readings that I've done, Sagittarius, between you and I, you're the one who I've seen where the cards are really beautiful. They are. So if you've been having doubts, if you don't know what you're doing, you don't know, based on what the cards say here, I'm going to say that I'm connecting with Sagittarius, that in the direction that you've taken is really positive. Because your person, in their heart, they have the Justice card. And this is the major arcana that comes hand in hand with the Empress. And the Empress to me represents, just like the Emperor, right? The level of maturity of a person, where they are able to transmute, like a whole different perspective about what they want and how they want to go about it. I mean, we may not be able to always keep that status or that status quo in our lives, because we haven't perfected every aspect of our lives, okay? once we do that, what's the fun, right? It's like, yeah, we're done. We're here having all of these different explorations, and we should have a little bit more fun than we do. But we've been taught to have fun in a way that is very destructive to us. So it's about having fun in a very constructive way. And I think that's what we are now recognizing in this process of awakening. But I feel like in this particular situation, you're dealing with somebody who they bring justice. So it tells me that you're dealing with somebody who they know what they want. They may not always be clear about how to get it, but they are doing some sort of work, especially in relationships, where it's about balance. It's important for this person to have fun, but also to have times where, okay, let's get serious, because there are things that we need to work through that requires our focus. So, when I see balance here and a sword, it's like your person definitely has a quality that is making you feel like, yeah, heck yeah. I would be silly and stupid if I don't try this. So you feel it. In their mind, they have the Ace of Cups. And the Ace of Cups is one of those cards that every tarot reader, when they see this card, they're like, there's love. It doesn't always represent love. Sometimes represents friendship. In this particular combination, I would say that, your person, okay, it shows up like this. Your person, it's offering you a cup. And I feel like this could be talking about honest and truthful friendship. So there is an aspect of that. Maybe something that started as fun and, we don't know what we're doing. It became something more. But there is a quality in this person's focus that maybe is also making you taking things slow. So, whatever this person is saying with this cup, I feel like there's an aspect of it that is kind of holding you back and maybe not say the things that you would like to say. And that's why the chakra card is here. It's sort of magnifying the connection between the two of you, where instead of you expressing what you feel, you're holding back, maybe verbally. Okay, so there's a quality about your person that it's creating more attraction, but at the same time, it's making you very conscientious and aware of how to behave or how to respond. And again, in their wishes, they have the Wheel of Fortune, and the Wheel of Fortune is another one of those cards that sometimes we can misunderstand, because our tendency is to think that we're going to receive these blessings, and sometimes we may not deserve it because we don't think we deserve it. But can we have the blessings? Can we be fortunate enough to have happiness in our lives? What sometimes we don't seem to comprehend is that these frequencies are always available to us. We just have to know how to align ourselves to them. So when I look at the Wheel of Fortune, basically it's representing how the cosmic clock changes. And in this particular case, it also talks about blessings. So it's like a way of the planets or the celestial bodies saying, hey, right now the environment is perfect for you to explore this wish or this blessing that we're granting you. So it's like the energy here, it's very positive for the both of you to come together, okay, as the Two of Cups, because this person, the way that they're expressing their energies and their desires and their, life force, it's very positive for you to begin this new cycle in which hopefully whatever you learn from the past, whatever change you made, and whatever decision you've now made in your mind that you were going to transmute or to whatever, this is like, I made this choice, I made this change that I'm going to do this from here forward, right? I'm going to move forward, and I'm not going to let anybody get in my way of what I know to be true for me, right? So it's those life changing decisions that we make sometimes, and then later we are not faithful to them because as soon as we're in a relationship, we just kind of throw it out the window. So this is your moment for you to implement them with this person. And it doesn't mean that you're not willing to compromise, but it's about being true to yourself, right? It's a really important aspect in this particular situation. How can I remain true to myself without losing myself by agreeing with somebody else just because of how I feel about this person? So every change that we make up here, eventually we have to implement it in our lives. And in this particular case, you have the right person to do it with. So the question is, how do we commit and persevere in the things that we are now in a situation versus just in our mind? Because in our mind is very easy to do, but actually doing it with somebody else, that's where the challenge comes. So the Wheel of Fortune, yes, represents that the environment or the universe is on your side, but now it's up to you. You got to do the work. Whatever change you made, now you have to do it and see if that idea or that understanding or that belief applies. Because if you cannot apply it in your life, it's as good as nothing. So there is a potential here between the two of you that is very beautiful. But ultimately, what's going to determine how beautiful it will become is the two of you. It's how you continue to work together as a team. In your intentions, you have the Queen of Wands. So I feel like with the Five of Cups here and the recent future, I feel like this is you. Your person also comes as the Queen of Wands. But I feel like the two of you here are coming with a very feminine energy. It could very well be representing your person as well. Because sometimes the cards can pick up the energy of your person. In their recent future, they come as the Hierophant. So I'm going to say that I wouldn't be surprised if some of you end up really getting into a committed relationship with your person. Comes with the number 5. So many 5s in this reading is really ridiculous. But again, 5 is another number that represents movement. But it's an energy of like the beginning of something that is like a work in progress. With the 5, things can go either south or opposite. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing. But when you get to 7, now we're focused. And that's how I see the numbers. It's just funny, some of the images that Spirit shows me. It's like 5, it's like we're like 50-50. But once we get to 7, now we mean business. But in this particular case, I feel like, we go through this kind of roller coaster because it's about whatever we have in our heads, can we put it into practice, right? So there is a sense of needing to work that out, especially between you and your person. I feel like something is growing here between the two of you. Something that feels really good. Something that feels stable. And although you may not be there yet 100%, you guys will work it out. At least it shows that in the cards. Long term, I mean, who knows, right? There's too many people in the collective. But you close this cycle, Sagittarius, with the Emperor. Your person with the Page of Cups. And I find this a really interesting connection, because a page may represent somebody who's very mature, but I still feel that you're dealing with an Empress, even though she may not fully showing those qualities. I'm just going on a hunch, okay? I think that you also feel it too. Some of you feel that this person has what it takes. But the High Priestess crossing the energy of your person is what tells me that you have an Empress who is not really showing you that aspect of themselves. And maybe they feel like, you know what, that's just who I am. I don't want to show everything of me. Some people, sometimes they can be that way. I mean, I notice I've gone out with a couple of Scorpios, and Scorpios, they tend to do that. I've noticed that there is a quality about them where they feel like they don't want to reveal everything about themselves. And it doesn't always mean that it's bad. It's just who they are. So I feel like you may be dealing with somebody like that, where they feel like, I'm going to give bits and pieces of myself. I'm not going to give it all at once, and just to make it fun. So there is a quality of that. But I also feel like your person is going to bring you an alternative, that you're going to feel this sense of security. It's like you're going to feel like this person really, is making your day, or is making your life. I don't know. It's something good. It's making you feel stable. It's making you feel grounded. So whatever it is, it could be as a form of surprise, if it didn't happen already, because this could, again, be happening as I speak. But it feels really nice. This reading feels really good. I've been dealing with a lot of different readings where the love is hidden on the top of all this other stuff that it's not that important, but it seems that, it's there. In your reading, I feel like there's love. There's a very strong bond happening here, but there's a lot of passion. And with the Emperor at the end of this cycle, I'm going to say be careful. Oh my God, I was going to say Scorpio. Be careful, Sagittarius, with your pride. Because I feel like the Emperor sometimes has a tendency to manipulate other people. Sometimes it may be conscientious of doing that because he's the Emperor, but it also can be very set on his ways. But I don't feel like maybe that's the case here, especially because the message here is pride. Well, you have the Magician in your intentions. In this particular deck, I feel like this Magician doesn't have the same approach as the other ones. I feel like in some ways you kind of probably feeling like, God, I can't believe I manifested this in my life. There's some of that. But be careful with manipulations, because a lot of times we can manipulate other people because we want to feel more secure, or because, now that we found gold, we don't want to lose it. So a lot of times we can do it just because we haven't really learned our lessons as far as manipulation goes. So just the fact that there's pride here, be careful with your head, with your mind, what your thoughts are telling you, just because 10 of Pentacles is crossing you here. So I feel like if there is distance between the two of you, or there are things that you need to work out in order to come together, if you do determine to create a relationship, you may end up trying to force change before you need to. And then that really can hinder the situation. And it could go either way, but you're the Emperor in this particular reading, so I have to keep you in mind. Otherwise, I feel like this is a very positive time for you. Also, Spirit here is saying is that, focus more and feel more gratitude about the things you have than the things you don't have. Sometimes, we forget how much we have and how much we have accomplished, and we focus more on the things that we don't have. So learn to have appreciation is definitely a very good frequency to work with when we're going through these changes, because there is a momentum going on right now. There's a momentum going for you right now that may make you feel a little bit unstable, because 7 is not 50-50. It's a little bit more than 50-50, but it still can create a sense of unsettling where, how are we going to work out all the rest of the details? And Spirit says, don't rush. Things are going to fall into place when the moment is right. So be certain, I see you're dealing here with somebody who's definitely interesting. She shows up, or he shows up. This person shows up as a Queen of Pentacles. So you can be dealing with somebody with, again, earth signs. But somebody here is definitely looking for a stability. They may not show it. You show up as the Knight of Cups. And a lot of the cards in the bottom of your deck are so good, Sagittarius. Really, it's just amazing. You have the Emperor, you have the Sun, you have the Strength card. You have a lot of strong major arcanas here. But because of the nature of the combinations of all these cards, be very mindful about your desires and how to go about them, because this can, again, talk about manipulations. And it would kind of be a shame of wanting to force your way in because of your insecurities or because your agenda. Things will work out, and just let the universe do it for you. In the meantime, we gotta also keep in mind a lot of the configurations that are taking place. I feel like the energy is going to change by the middle of March. I'm going to come out with that video where I'm going to talk about the frequencies of March, where we're going to have a lot of Empress energy together with the Lovers. So hang in there, Sagittarius. I think you're doing great. All right, so thank you so much, Sagittarius. I wish you the best of lucks. It was really an honor to do this reading for you. Take care until next time.